Well, hello. Welcome, everybody. Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you coming to join me. I know people will be filtering in as the notification goes out, so that's no problem. I hope everybody is staying warm. These storms have been absolutely insane. If you've been seeing any of the videos, um, we've got floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes. We've got a lot of people saying that it's the end times, and I'm looking at it going, no, Mother Earth is just going through a cycle and we'll get through it. So, hello again. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to 2024. We made it. We made it another cycle. We made it to the new year. I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday season. Ours was really quiet around here, me and hubby and the kitties. I did get to go and visit with my mother. Um, on that note, part of the reason why I decided to wait, I've been dealing with some family issues of my own. So my appearances may become a little bit sporadic, and I apologize in advance. One, my mom's health is not good. She had last year a case of not only did she have infected kidneys and kidney stones from that, which she's dealt with kidney stones consistently for the last decade. She has them almost daily. But she wound up contracting pneumonia, and she has problems with asthma and chronic bronchitis. So she's been bedridden since she got home from the hospital. And I did not know just how severe it was. Um, so I'm going to be trying to, focus a little bit more on as I'm able to travel, going down to spend a little time with her. And then Christmas Day, I got a message from one of my aunts, and then later talked to one of my other aunts, both on my father's side of the family. Now, my father and I have never been very close, but I do still care about it because we've tried to establish at least some kind of um, connection between the two of us. He is in the hospital. They will be moving him into hospice. He has a massive brain tumor the size of a lemon. So bigger than that, that's inoperable. Um, Especially with the fact that he is diabetic, um, not very well maintained from what I understand. He is also 83 years old, so they are going to move him into hospice, and the doctors are saying it's going to be about 3 months. Um, is all he's going to be around. So I'm going to try to, without straining myself, you know, put some focus into that, let them know that I do care and that I'm there to support in what ways I can. With my own disabilities, there's only so much I can do. With my own sensitivities to emotion and energy, there's only so much I can do. And it's a delicate balance when we get thrown into these situations that um, throw us off kilter, tip us off balance. And I'm eternally grateful for everything that I've learned in my lifetime, and especially over the last, 5 or 6 years. And how do I cope with that part of life and still care for myself and give myself permission to care for myself. Because there was a time where I would have just said, okay, everything that's me is on the back burner and feet forward, list in hand. Okay, we've got to do X, Y, Z. But my name wasn't on that paper anyway. And then I would deal with the consequences of jumping in like that afterwards, in how it affected both my emotional state, how it affected my health. I can't do that. Not if I want to be able to give where it's needed, and that includes me. So I hope you'll bear with me over the coming weeks, next couple of months. On the other side of things, though, the energies that I've been sensing coming forward for this coming year are going to be amazing. The energies of new possibilities, of new relationships, and that can be both romantic, professional, friendship, um, even with pets. Those connections are going to be stronger, they're going to be clearer. You're going to see an uptick on the positive side of more of the population coming together, um, stepping up, stepping out, holding that hand out, helping each other, lifting each other up. And so, yeah, I'm very, what's the right word? I'm tickled. I'm happy to see that we're finally, after the last few years, this massive shift in energy is swinging towards that positive. And while I know everything feels extremely chaotic right now, like I said at the beginning, with, we've got earthquakes, we've got floods, we've got tornadoes, we've got hurricanes. That is energy in motion for something new to come in. Sometimes we have to make room. That is our planet. That is Mother Earth. That is the energies shifting things to make room for amazing, magical things that are coming in. So before I get in too far, get in too deep, there were a couple of things that I wanted to touch base on, and later on we'll touch base on again. One is, you guys out there are absolutely freaking amazing. Gemma's book has gone to #1 on Amazon, and I know how much this means to her. This is her life's dream, and you've made it happen. Um, Again, I know Stephen's going to put links in the chat, um, and he'll do it later on. But if you haven't purchased the book, please consider going out, purchasing the book, um, and then rate and review it. Go in, give her, 4 stars, 5 stars. So far, from what I understand, she's getting just amazing reviews. So I just wanted to put that out there because I am so happy for her. She has manifested her dream, had another bestseller, and sky's the limit. It's again that she's been through the chaos and that made room for this new, positive, vibrant energy to come in. For myself as well, you know, I will have to double check the date, but was contacted by Bigfoot Michigan Rob about coming on his show and doing a little talk on me, myself, and I, spirituality, the paranormal, and my views on the UFOs and Bigfoot, all of that wonderful stuff. And that should be, I believe, on the 18th, and it will be his midday brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. I will check the time and the exact date and make sure that, you know, as it gets closer, that everyone is informed. I would love to see as many of you come visit as possible, or watch later. Because I don't know, it's like getting invited to that uh, best friend tea party or birthday party, and you're just kind of excited to get to go. So, I've gotten to be a really good friend with Rob through all of our chatting via, um, various podcasts across the groups, and his story and how he's come to the community to because he was looking for answers. And then he also realized that there were shoes that needed filled, and there were others out there that needed someone to turn to talk to um, bounce ideas off of, to try to find answers. And that's the same for me. That's a big part of why I'm in this community. Is I too am seeking answers. Why I am the way I am. What is my path? What are these around us? That was an interesting little glitch there. Um, and speaking of, we're on the backside of Mercury retrograde, so things like technical glitches will become less and less um, as the week progresses. So fear not, things are getting better on the technical front. Um, Now, that's not to say Spirit's not going to play with things as they like to do, because it's a way that they can communicate with us. But, a lot of folks the last week and a half were having massive technical difficulties. Everything from, you know, phone freezing to sound coming and going, glitching. It's just this energy shift that we're all going through, and Mercury and its relationship in our celestial cosmos to what it does to us is it just kind of rattles the cage a little bit, shakes things up. So I am going to light us some sage and light our candle, and if you understand a little bit about um, pagan practices. In Wicca, or pagan tradition, they're getting ready to celebrate Imbolc, and that's Imbolc, Imbolc. And Imbolc is the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It's that moment when we can definitively say that things are going to be coming back to life. The word Imbolc literally translates to inside the womb. referring to the time of year when creatures of the forest that we would depend upon, the deer, the bears, rabbits, squirrels, they are all in that point in their hibernation that they have their young within their womb as well as their own life within the womb of Mother Earth. And so they're preparing for that spring equinox, that spring rebirth, when we see everything return to life. So I'm going to light Palo Santo tonight, um, with that connection to Earth. Again, I go back to wood. Um, Wood grounds me. I actually took a really nice picture when I was at my mom's house. There's a tree in her front yard. Uh, it was supposed to be a dwarf pine, so it wasn't supposed to grow any taller than 6 feet. When we planted it, it was about 2 feet tall, maybe. It's over 30 feet tall. And so this tree was planted when I was in my very early childhood. I want to say maybe 6-ish years old. And so I grew up with this tree. So I have a very strong connection. And so I placed my hand on it and just closed my eyes and sort of let the memories of, all the things that have gone on in and around this tree over the last, 30, 40 years, 45 years. Um, it was just very magical. And to be able to touch that tree and to think about how many times that I've come and gone by the tree and touched that tree in its various stages throughout its life. And something that, while it was planted when I was young, will likely be there long after I'm gone. Um, So it just seems appropriate tonight to light the Palo Santo, and we're going to give thanks. We're going to give thanks for for family. We're going to give thanks for that which resides in Mother Earth's womb that's going to be returning to us, and the new life that is about to spring forth in the coming months, coming weeks. When I sat and thought about this and channeled it out, I thought about how what were the first what are the first things that come to mind when you think of the returning of spring and those weeks coming up to spring? What are the things that we all look forward to? And like one, well, I've got bird feeders out in the yard. Um, the variety and abundance of songbirds that begin to return as they fly back, from the south back up to the north. And I think about how, uh, as the snow begins to melt, and the first things that break through the snow are flowers like crocus, um, opening up and spreading their petals towards the sun, and the wildlife, and the deer, the bears, rabbits, and so on, as they emerge from their winter slumber, um, to start a new cycle with their young. And watching the trees that have lost all of their leaves in the depth of winter, and how we, just like that tree, sometimes will shed those things that don't serve us anymore. But when we connect with Earth, we can renew those leaves, and you see the little buds that appear on the branches of the trees as they just start to unfurl and become the new leaves, um, the new pine needles, the blossoms of spring. We have an apple tree that our deer up here come to visit, and when it's in full blossom, it's so magical. Um, it's that deep breath. Winter's over. And so Imbolc embraces the idea that we can take that deep breath in because we're headed towards spring. It's also a time to celebrate. And they would celebrate with a feast in medieval times. You know, you're looking at, they'd prepared for winter. So they are down to the lesser stores of their keep, their castle, their home, their hearth. And those items that, okay, we still have, these potatoes or these leeks or these other herbs and whatnot. And they would put together a feast to celebrate that they still had each other, and that they knew it was okay to do so because spring was coming. So I'm going to light our candle. What shall we focus on this time? Of course, family, joy, love, spring, just around the corner. That out of chaos, life can be renewed, and new and wondrous things can happen. Cheers. So let's see. I've got my little notebook. Thank goodness, because I've been scatterbrained. Again, like I said, when I got phone calls from family that well, two aunts that honestly I haven't talked to in 30 years. Not that I haven't put out an effort and sent cards and so on, but yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. wanted to talk about Imbolc. Oh, what else shall we talk about tonight? I know. New Year's resolutions. One of everybody's favorite subjects. Mm-mm. No, not a. Mm-mm. I chose instead to make new traditions rather than resolutions, because traditions can be carried on long after the year is done. While I didn't get around to sending out holiday cards, which I normally do, I'll send out Yule cards, I'll send out Christmas cards, New Year's cards, so on. Um, I didn't. Every time I went to pick up everything to do so, Spirit was telling me, wait a second, it's time to change things up. It's time to make way for a new tradition. And traditions, the ones that we celebrate, the ones like Christmas, the ones like 4th of July, these all these traditions, the idea of drinking a toast to someone started with an idea that one person had, one that later others agreed on. So, one of the traditions that I decided to start, now I haven't mailed them out yet, but I have started them, is instead of Christmas cards, winter holiday cards, that in the month of January and February, which, we have this lull sort of between the holidays where everything seems kind of dark and dismal, that I would send out cards and whatnot to friends and family and gemstones of wishes for you for the coming year. You know, um, wishing you blessings, wishing you um, prosperity in life, wishing you happy adventures. Um, and I really hope, because we've got the washing machine going in the background, that it's not bleeding through too badly. So, Stephen, if you hear it, let me know. If you don't hear it, no worries. We're good. But the idea that, you know, I could start a new tradition by saying, on the 1st of April, I'm going to play a joke. Gee, April Fool's Day. Um, there are lots of subtle ways that instead of making a New Year's resolution for yourself, um, you can start something that's going to last a little longer. Start something with your family. Maybe on the 1st of the month, we will take out a piece of paper. And on that piece of paper, we're going to write down something about someone else you live with that makes you smile. You know, put it up on a whiteboard. 1st of the month, write something that makes you smile about somebody else. Take that piece of paper, fold it up, throw it in the jar. At the end of the year, you'll have a jar full of happy moments, happy things in those darker times that you can unfold and reflect on. You could then even take them and pair them with photographs and put them in a photo album. You know, my happy moment was, and I've got one myself. A couple of weeks back, my husband was getting ready for bed. He sat down on the edge of the bed. One of the kitties came up and he was leaning forward so that she could give him a nose kiss. And they touched noses. And I was right there for that moment. That seeing how loving and connecting he is with our kitties brings me an extreme amount of joy because that's how I feel about them. They're family. They're my fur family. So, those little moments, how can we take those and make them into something that will last? Make those into traditions. So just some food for thought. Um, let's see. Then, oh, I have to bring it up because uh, partially private conversation, but I want to share a little bit of it. In the background, Gemma and I have been chatting, and she kind of wanted me to give a synopsis of how I would describe myself. That's one of the hardest things that I've had to do in a long time is put a definition on myself. Who am I? What am I? What would I call myself to a perfect stranger that encompasses who I am now, my state of being, my way of thinking, my way of doing things, my interactions with all of you. And so that in and of itself was a resolution to take a little bit deeper look at myself and how have I changed? What's different about me than 5 days ago, 5 months ago, 5 years ago? And, maybe just write about it in my journal. And that way, in 5 days, 5 months, 5 years from now, maybe I can go back and I can look at it and go, oh, wow, look at me now compared to how I was then, and then how I was before, and the person that I've become. And, I would never have thought that I would be sitting here doing a podcast, talking to all of you, just sharing parts of me, sharing what brings me joy, what um, hopefully brings you some happiness, brings you some peace. Now, I never would have thought I'd be doing that, and here I am. You know, just a scant 4 years ago, I was sitting and waiting for the art studio to open back up so that I could go do some ceramics work. Speaking of, I found myself some air dry clay that I'm going to play around with, and you guys might get to see some of the creations and might even get to receive some of those creations. So we'll see how it goes. But look at how much life has changed just since then. And you know what? It's been pretty good. It was rough. It was turmoil. I cried. I thought I was going to suffocate. I thought I was going to lose my mind. And yet here I am. Okay, maybe I did lose my mind, but not in a bad way. So, husband's walking by, he just waved at me. So I'll wave at all of you for him. But it's also brought me back around to being comfortable in your own skin. Look at me. I've got purple hair. I just actually had my hair um, touched up. Hopefully it looks okay. But I'm of an age now, and I don't like to admit it, but I also don't mind admitting it. I just turned 56, and it's hard for me to believe. It's like, I look in the mirror and I go, okay, who are you and where did I go? Because you ain't it. That's not the me. If I look at photos of myself from, say, even 10 years ago, that feels like me. What I see in the mirror, other than, okay, I love the purple hair, I, in some ways, can't wrap my head around how this whole linear, we're moving forward in time thing works. Because it's like, how on earth did I get here so fast? And yet, a long time. Took a lot of hours of ups and downs and frustration and glee to make it to where I am right now. And so, how do I not only celebrate being here? I'm alive, I'm healthy, I've got my husband, I've got warm home, I've got so many blessings. And how do I balance that with who I think I should be, who I was, who I am? So a lot of shadow work has been going on for me. So I'm hoping that through my own talking about my own shadow work, that maybe it helps some of you out there that are struggling with the same kind of things. Um, and it doesn't matter how, quote, young or old you are. We all go through it. Whether it's the child going, why can't I be older? Or the old woman wondering, where did I go? We all go through it. That is one of the hard truths of our physical world. And how do we navigate it and come from a place of happiness, come from a place of joy, and learn to celebrate even those things that we think are catastrophes. I look at me and my journey with fibromyalgia, and I know some people that they had been diagnosed, started having symptoms around the same time that I did, and to this day, all they can focus on is what was stolen from them. I look at also, yes, it took a lot of things out of my life and threw me into chaos, but it gave me compassion. It taught me to slow down. It taught me to appreciate those little things. When you realize one morning that when you go to lift a coffee cup and you drop it and it shatters, and it makes a disaster all over the floor because the pain shoots up so severe you can't hold it. You then suddenly realize how special just a simple act of being able to pick something up and hold it in your hand and feel its texture, smell. Those are precious. It's why we're here. It's why we're in a physical existence, is to understand and appreciate and experience this solid 3D world, because otherwise, as an energy form, while that knowledge is there, that resonance is there, that tactile, that feel, that smell, taste, touch, sight. That's why we're here. That's why we're in this body. That's why a lot of us choose to reincarnate and come back, not just because we've got something to learn, but because there's something else we either want or need to experience. I hope this is resonating with all of you. Um, you all mean a lot to me. You are, each and every one of you, special. You are my family. Even if, for me, you reside in a box that's that big, one of these days I'll get to hug you all in person, because that's the way I am. That's the kind of person I am. Is I'm the kind of person that, you know, you'll feel this tug on the back of your shirt because I'm small. I'm short. Hello, can I have a hug? And I help when I open my arms and I spread them out to you, so you will let me embrace and show you just how much you mean to me. And I hope that you'll do that for each other too. Coming together, giving each other a hug, you are allowing another person into your personal space, that toroidal energy field that surrounds your entire body, up, above, below, on all sides. You're allowing that person inside that energy field. It takes a lot of trust. You are exchanging energy when you do so. When you reach out and you hug someone, you're allowing the flow of energy between the two of you. And so, think of, what is it, Visa? You've got the two circles and then they overlap. And so it looks like two vortices spiraling but overlapping each other. That's basically what happens when you hug another person. And you can replenish each other when you do it. One of my young students, when I was teaching ceramics, when she was having a bad day, you know, I and I never did anything inappropriate, asked her in front of everyone else. I said, if you want it, if you're comfortable with it, let me give you a hug. And we'd stand there, and I put my arms around her shoulders. Just take a deep breath in and let it out. And just let that energy commingle. And it goes back to the science side of things, and you're seeing a balancing of vibration, of energy between two beings. And these two beings may go from, one being depleted and one being full to being balanced. So, you know, that's something that I hope I can gift to all of you that I care about, is to be able to actually give you a hug one day in person and share some of that healing energy. I do want to, very briefly, I'm going to draw an oracle card. We've done this the last few times. I'm going to draw an oracle card to kind of get an idea for the energies, the resonance for the next week, 2 weeks, just to see what our gemstone collective sees coming forward. So I'm going to use my Sacred Forest Oracle. I really like this one. Um, and it goes back to something I used to do intuitively, and I can't talk tonight. Yeah, intuitively, that I later found out is a common modality, a common practice, is when I have a, whether it be an oracle deck, um, or a crystal candle, what have you. Um, I like to, really work with just that one specific item till I feel it's right, to feel the energy again, commingle with my own and come into a connection balance and see that I am aligned with it and that it is aligned with me. Cards are getting crazy. Let's see what they've got to say for the Gemstone Collective for the next few weeks. Just the energies that we need to be aware of coming in. What can we tell us? I'm hearing three. One, two, three. I have two cards. And again, listen to your intuition if you're reading oracle cards for yourself, and whether it's you're wanting to do a spread reading for yourself or for someone else. Sometimes I'll let the cards tell me, and it may be the card jumps out. Sometimes it'll be, okay, count to three. Sometimes it'll be the third card or the seventh card, or what have you. So we have Owl Spirit, Spirit of Wisdom. And Stephen, I am going to have to cut this short. Speaking of, we have Earth Spirit. And Earth Spirit is stability. So, with wisdom and stability, know that we are being protected by our guardians our wise watchers feel a passion coming back and ourselves taking flight, and the return of life to Mother Earth. So, just so you understand what was going on, and I'm going to wind this down right here now. You know how I was talking about two aunts? The one that is taking care of things with my dad. She actually just tried to call me. So, with that, make sure, like, subscribe, follow. Gemma will be doing her Oracle one card readings Saturday, which means most likely our Sweet Ghost Dragons is going to be doing his Gemma replay tomorrow night from 10 p.m. Eastern to midnight. So please go and join them. Look for everything coming up next week, including a new release video probably on Monday, as well as Chill and Chat on Tuesday. And go out, look at Rumble. All the links will be in both the chat and in the descriptions. The book, Emma's newest book on Amazon, and come join us for our next show. With love and light and blessings to each and every one of you, have a safe and wonderful week. We will talk to you soon, and bye bye. Good night, everyone.